Dr. B and Mrs. B, empty nester lifestyle. Ba-da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da, la 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 la.
We are back. That's right. We are back to the Dr. B and Mrs. B Empty Nester podcast show, the Empty Nester Lifestyle podcast show. This is podcast show number 34, Mrs. B. 34, Mrs. B.
34. Let's go.
Let's go. This is podcast show number 34. It's entitled How to Live Much Longer as an Empty Nester. The Blue Zone Sense of Purpose and Faith Pattern. Whoa! Yeah, we're digging deeper.
Wow.
This is show number 3 on the Blue Zone. We're going to dig deeper. Here it is. How to Live Much Longer as an Empty Nester. The Blue Zone Sense of Purpose and Faith. Yes,
Wow.
we are going into
Good
the
one.
other elements of the Blue Zone. Last week we were talking about the eating pattern, and that was very productive, Mrs. B.
Yes, it was.
And then we the first one we talked about just the Blue Zone in general, but now we're digging deeper. This is the third show of the Blue Zone, and we're digging deeper into the sense of purpose and faith pattern that the researchers said that was so instrumental. So what's your first thought about the sense of purpose and faith pattern, Mrs. B?
Wow. Before I start, Dr. B, can you remind the listening audience about the Blue Zone age groups, the ages? They might want to be refreshed from the previous.
We're going to go
two
over that.
podcasts.
I just want you a quick sense
Okay.
of purpose,
Sense of
Mrs.
purpose.
B, and faith. This is two factors of which they highlight.
Okay.
Just some quick words of wisdom.
All right. Quick words of wisdom. Purpose. Just like I mentioned on the previous podcast, the Blue Zone can be a blue zone, your zone, whatever zone you choose to live in. But the sense of purpose that we're talking about, this particular topic of the Blue Zone, also means what is your goals? What do you plan to do? The meaning of life, the meaningful purpose, the happiness, the clarity.
I appreciate that, Miss. We got to keep this short. It's the sense of purpose and faith. That's what we're going to focus on. Let me take care of some business right now.
All right.
We want to thank all our listeners on all our platforms. Again, our podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google Play, all the different platforms that are out there, even next door, y'all. And we're on X. We're on all the different podcast platforms, and we also digging deeper on where the new downloads are coming from. They're coming from Brazil, India, Singapore, France, Argentina, Ecuador, Indonesia, Lithuania, Bangladesh, Cote d'Ivoire, Germany, Dominican Republic, Ethiopia, Malaysia, Peru, Philippines, Thailand, Venezuela, Vietnam, South Africa, and we even had a few more that I just checked out the downloads from different countries. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All of the downloads. Now, Mrs. B, I'm going to get into the Blue Zone, and just a little quick refresher of the Blue Zone. The Blue Zone is where experts have identified certain places and populations called the Blue Zone as where people seem to be the healthiest in the world. The term was coined by researcher and explorer Dan Buettner, who discovered the regions while studying people's lifespan. And he identified several key elements of the Blue Zone. The Blue Zones were highlighted in such countries as Sardinia, Italy, and Icaria, the Greek islands, Loma Linda in California, specifically the Seventh Adventist population, also Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, and Okinawa in Japanese island. And so he identified several key elements. And these elements were about avoiding eating eat more plant-based foods. Also, put family first, reduce stress, make movement part of your daily life, surround yourself with healthy people. And the
Yes.
factors that we're going to talk about specifically in this show is find your sense of purpose and faith. Now, let me just add just a little bit more. In this area of find your sense of purpose and have faith, here's what the researchers say. Understanding your purpose is a critical part of your culture in the Blue Zone. Knowing why you get up in the morning and what your responsibilities are priority. Blue Zone residents feel needed and it helps them live longer. Research shows that when someone knows a certain and can explain their sense of purpose, they have a 15% lower risk of dying prematurely. And another study found that people with a higher sense of purpose are 33% less likely to develop sleep issues, 24% less likely to become physically inactive, and 22% less likely to develop an unhealthy body mass index. That is, in essence, not being, making sure you don't add on those pounds and inches.
Yes.
And then, so that's find your sense of purpose. And then they identify have faith. People living in blue zones often describe themselves as people of faith or part of a faith-based community. Practicing faith may be closely connected with having a sense of purpose and being involved in a like-minded community offers socialization and a feeling of connection. So some of this research shows that regular attendance to different faith-based services, regardless of your religion, tend to live up to 14 years longer than those who do not. So they have data to support the issues of having faith and of finding a sense of purpose. There are numbers there. This is just not talk, but they have the data.
Yes,
in different parts of the country.
Yes.
So, Mrs. B, getting back to what I just asked you at the very beginning, and we're diving deeper into it. What do you think about finding your sense of purpose, particularly as an empty nester, and then your faith? Let's start off with your sense of purpose, Mrs. B. What's your sense? Let's stop. What's your sense of purpose, Mrs. B?
Well, yeah.
As an empty nester.
Okay, I'm going to get to it. He said, "Well, hold on, stop." I said, "Okay." I was getting ready.
That was a setup. So I just want to build up. So
I heard you the build up. It's wonderful.
Let's dive deep into sense of purpose.
Yes, let's do this deeper dive. As I was saying earlier, and we were talking about that before we went into welcoming everyone. Welcome. I wanted to say that, and to add to it, is that the meaning of life. What had you done before you were retired or before you entered a blue zone or the zone that you're in? What were you doing before? What did you enjoy? Was that your meaning? Was that your purpose? Was that part of the phase of your life or stage of your life? And then you went to the next part of your life and you decided, I always wanted to do something else or do something different or add on to what your life is. So getting up in the morning, having a meaningful purpose, having goals, having set a direction, a new direction, a good direction, a positive direction, getting involved in activities. What are your activities? What do you want to do? What are the events you want to attend? What makes you excited? What makes you happy? What makes you profound? What makes you serious? What makes you laugh? The things that you can do that you're interested in, that you'll stay interested in, that makes you happy for a long period of time, and prosperity and wealth building and understanding what happened in the past affects the future and any mistakes made along the way, if some, and everybody does, large to small. What can you do to restorative of yourselves, restoration, to live a better life, to be you, and no one else can figure that out. You have to find that special meaning.
What is your sense of purpose, Mrs. B?
My sense of purpose is being the things that I like to do: creativity, events.
What are they?
Arts, fine arts, as well as business. I work with business and business.
Let me stop.
Mrs. B.
Mrs. B.
I'm going on. I've
go
talked
ahead.
About those sense of purpose, but also I also do as well as education. That's part of my history, part of my family history. Creativity, intellectual capability, intellect, all the different things that I do in life and career, family events, sense of purpose of Christianity for me, faith, all my life, and networking with people, learning about different skills, beliefs, understanding. That all kind of connects together. And Dr. B, that makes sense when you said in the study that the part of the meaning and purpose and the things that you do in life, and also humanitarian that I've done for years, is a sense of purpose. It's also the sense of faith. I conjoin the two. I combine the two. There are some times when I'm right straight to business. This is what it is. This is what I'll do. And I get that done, completing each task along the way. And when you fall, sometime, if you do, you get back up and take it a step at a time. And that's what it is. Sometimes 1 minute at a time. And you got to get back up and keep going. And then finding that happiness, that joy. And for me, Mrs. B, it connects with a sense of my faith, religious faith, Christianity, all my life, my Holy Spirit, my belief, but also non-peaceful beliefs that I embrace with people, not only within my circumference, my family, friends, associates, and people around the world, and reaching out and outreach, is because it's who I am. And when you find that joy of all the fun things you like to do, and there are many interests I have, but then I've realized in the Blue Zone age group and my zone age group and the lifestyle age group, Dr. B and Mrs. B, Emptynester, lifestyle.com, I realized that my sense of purpose and my sense of faith catapults me into different types of environments, different types of situations, different types of networks, and then that begins to have a positive effect. And using my intelligence and all the things that I am in my professional life, but also in my family life, and also in my religious life, and interfaith to affect the positive cause and effect that affects others, whether it's one person, two, a group.
Thank you, Mrs. B. Okay, we got to thank you so much for that insightful discussion or overview of sense of purpose. But I want to as well make sure that our audience connects with these issues. We're not saying providing a framework. We're giving you answers, a direction.
Correct.
And what happens usually as an empty nester and retirement phase that a lot of folks go through is that they plan for their retirement, and then they get their retirement, they get their Social Security, and then the next day they say, I don't know what I'm going to do. They do all this planning, they get to these years, and then by the end, right at that, once they get it official, what is the next phase? What is your sense of purpose? After all of this, and a lot of my colleagues and friends say, I don't even know what I'm going to do now that I'm officially retired. And there's and you can see that there's no plan, no sense of purpose. And then they ask about what, and this relates to, here's where I'm sharing my own issues. What drives you to get up in the morning And what drives me to get up in the morning every morning is, along with the sense of purpose, I got projects to do. I got interests. I wake up energized in the morning. It starts in the morning.
Yes, he does.
And it's not about always an activity, but it's just the energy to get up. And I have my general schedule of activities, whether it's teaching, whether it's exercising,
Yes.
whether it's developing a new project, and whether it's doing Dr. B and Mrs. B Emptynester productions. So I have a list of issues, activities, as soon as I get up in the morning. It's not a kind of a distant situation. These are actual activities where I have to move, where I have to get up and organize myself every day and be flexible, but enjoy it. That's the thing about it. Enjoy my sense of purpose, particularly as an empty nester. And I know my sense of purpose as an empty nester. It's about completing the next phase of my life. This is a powerful time in one's life. You finally are here.
Agreed.
Hello, you finally are here after all the years raising a family, being by yourself as a single person, going through the education. Now you are here. What is your sense of purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And are you driven by faith as well? So that's what Dr. B feels great about. I have a new sense of purpose. I have different activities that drives me, that gives me that energy. And particularly when I'm doing my workout with every 2-3 times a week, I get that motivation even further. So it's a practical thing. These factors that the researchers highlight of finding your sense of purpose and having faith, these are just a couple of factors. But you have to operationalize these factors for yourself.
Yes.
Because everyone has a different sense of purpose, and everyone has the right to have a wide variety of faith or issues that makes individuals feel connected with the world and after we live. So again, this is the practicality. This is why I felt like it was important to dig deeper into these particular factors of the blue zone. Finding your sense of purpose as an empty nester and a baby boomer now at this phase, and having faith. How do you develop that pattern? It's there. Yes. So it's time to operationalize it. It's time to personalize it. We're not saying I am the roadmap. No, everyone can get to their sense of purpose.
Yes, they can.
It's about slowing down and getting real with your life. Because there's no further activity physically. So these issues hit home to me because I want to make sure I have a sense of purpose every single morning that I wake up. And I want to continue to have that faith that has been instilled with me as a young kid growing up.
Exactly.
So it's always there.
Yeah. And then so that's the thing. You grow up, you have your single life, have a sense of purpose there. Because I agree with Dr. B on that. And then you get into family and you have your sense of purpose as family. And then as a married couple, you have your sense of purpose as academia. And then you go on with life and you reach out to people. When you get a certain age, you have your own physical activity. If there's no more physical activity you're doing, you create physical activity. And then you reach out and you tell people. And you don't want to get in, to their personal life. You don't tell them, hey, this is what it is. You don't reveal yourself and say, well, my life is this, that, and the other. And because you respect each other as a couple and as a married couple and family, you don't want to reveal all what that is. But at the same, because you have your own personal life, you have your intimate lives, but you also want to be able to know what your sense of purpose is individually, as a person, and an individual in a marriage, and individually as your own work, and also as a marriage itself, and also as a family. Your sense of purpose as a mother, a sense of purpose as a father, but a sense of purpose of you being in the blue zone, and any zone that you choose in your lifestyle is your zone. And it's just about respect. I'm going to make sure if I call somebody out about their sense of purpose, about who you are and what you are, then I'm going to be able to be nurturing and caring and lift you up to be who you are. I'm not trying to make a point. I'm trying to make a point about your life. I'm making a point about my life and you understanding how our lives are as Dr. B and Mrs. B Empty Nester Lifestyle. But also at the same time saying to everyone and saying to other people, Dr. B has his own particular life in Blue Zone and how he does things, and I have my life in Blue Zone, but we also have our Blue Zone life and our lifestyle, our zones together. And that's important because you have to remain independent of yourself and know your self-worth. Well, that's so critical, particularly for older women and mature women, especially 55 up, which is the blue zone. Sometimes as low as the age lowest of 50 and up. 55 up because you might have older spouse, older husband, older wife if you have a wife, and then 60 and up. So you do have to find that independence, but at the same time, you can't be selfish about it, right? You have that person with you, you have that partner, you have that faith. Dr. B has his faith, Christianity. I have my faith, and we have our faith together. We raise our children through Christianity, our faith. But at the same time, we embrace interfaith and peaceful religions, okay, that were not Christianity. So you have to look at all those things that factor in the meaning and purpose and respect each other when you're with your friends group, respect each other in a marriage, respect each other as, when you're saying something that you think is private and intimate, you keep it to yourself and you talk about it within your family and have your privacy and sometimes you do things within your family and sense of family is important. You do things that you say and you move the progress or the advancement step by step further, and there's a reasons for that because you see a lot of elements surrounding you that is happening in the world, and that's a challenge, and making sure that you bring that to a point that maybe the individual's not understanding at the time. And when you're in a blue zone, you want to have adventures, you want to have traveling, and you want to be able to find your self-worth and know where your self-worth is. But the meaning and purpose of your own spiritual self, whatever you choose it to be, always keep it positive. Don't go down the road of negativity or any type of hate or any type of evils in the world, which is minimizing certainly because the blue zone is about positivity.
There you
and I'm going to
go.
wrap it up, but I want to make a challenge. I want to make a challenge to a lot of other folks out there in their own relationships and marriage, whether you're dating older, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're living in a home, areas of resort or retirement homes, whether you're living in the senior living, or whether you're living independently. I want to challenge you to give us some feedback on what you call your blue zone and your meaning and sense of purpose and your faith. And let us know how you are doing and what you feel about it. Email us at Dr. B and Mrs. B EmptyNesterLifestyle.com. And I want to find out what you think and let us know how you think. Kindness, empathy. Are you reaching out? Are you being reached out to? Are you stronger than before? Do you need more resilient? And have you overcome some things in your life? And the blue zone leads to that happier zone, just like Dr. B said, knowing yourself, knowing what makes you happy. Like I said, knowing my interests, my joy, what we enjoy to do, what you enjoy doing together and what you enjoy doing individually.
There you go. We've gone a little bit longer than we normally go. So
All right.
we are finishing up. This is podcast show number 34, How to Live Much Longer as an Empty Nester, the Blue Zone Sense of Purpose and Faith Pattern. Overall, I give the Blue Zone a thumbs up, Mrs. B. And I also say, create your own Blue Zone and make it your own color. It's not necessarily a blue zone. Make it your own color, everyone. So thank you for listening for podcast show number 34. Only thing I have to say at this point in time is peace out, Mrs. B.
Peace in, Dr. B.
Dr. B and Mrs. B, empty nester lifestyle. Ba-da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da, la 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 la.